So this is such an interesting concept, but I guess kind of makes sense at the same time. So apparently, and this again, keep in mind, take everything with a grain of salt, because this is what's being reported, is that Shedeur Sanders, when he was in the draft, which we all knew he fell to like the fifth round, he was contacted at one point by the Ravens and the Eagles, and he told both of those organizations he didn't want to play for either of those teams, so don't draft him. So keep this in mind. It's during the actual NFL draft. It's not, after the draft or before the draft, right? We're talking about during the NFL draft. He's watching himself fall pick after pick, round after round, dropping in this draft. And apparently he told the Ravens and the Eagles, who called him up and said, hey, man, we're going to draft you. Like, we want you to be a member of the Ravens or a member of the Eagles. He said, don't draft me. I don't want to play for your club. I don't want to play for your team. Now, obviously, at the end of the day, the third team that called him up was the Brownies. He wanted to play for the Brownies for whatever reason. Listen, it does make sense, right? From a circumstance point of he wasn't going to start in, Baltimore. He wasn't going to start in Philadelphia. So the only place he could have gone where he would have been a starter or potentially could have been a starter was Cleveland. And when you look at it, from his point of view, and again, keep in mind, he said this after the Browns drafted Dylan Gabriel, right? So, obviously, he's looking at it thinking, okay, well, I have Kenny Pickett, Joe Flacco, Dylan Gabriel, and again, he's betting on himself here to say, hey, if I go out there, I could beat out these guys, I could become the starter, and obviously, potentially become the best quarterback in Browns history. Or we could be in the situation we're in now where Dylan Gabriel is the second-string quarterback and Shedeur is the third-string quarterback behind Joe Flacco. Now, again, at the end of the day, I will always be biased here and say I can't even be biased here. I was going to say, yeah, of course, who wants to go to the Ratbirds? But there really is no scenario we can be biased here. Cleveland is the worst spot in human history for any quarterback to ever go. And I get it, well, yeah, but he has a starting job there. It doesn't matter. Cleveland is that bad. Cleveland is the exception to the rule. Bro, nobody wants to go to Cleveland. Shedeur, man, that's a big L on your part. You could have went on the Eagles, been the backup, potentially go win a Super Bowl with the Philadelphia Eagles. It's funny how in the end they actually traded DTR over to Philadelphia for Kenny Pickett in the end. But it's just, oh man, that's such a stupid move by Shedeur Sanders. Again, and I hate the Ravens and I dislike the Eagles because of their fans. But man, that's an L move. That's definitely an L move in the end. Because you could have went to a team that potentially get yourself an actual ring in Philadelphia. Jalen Hurts has injury concerns. He does get injured, left and right at times. You could literally just go. But he wanted the start. He wanted the start. He wanted the opportunity to maybe become a starting quarterback in the NFL. So he went to Cleveland, and, well, the rest is history right now. And I don't know what's going to go on there. I think eventually the Browns are going to trade him. Before the trade deadline comes up, I think there's going to be teams that are interested in him. I heard, rumors that maybe Cincinnati would be interested in him. Maybe Cincinnati would go after him. I don't think we're going to, personally speaking. Is it possible? Obviously, right? There's always a possibility for anything. But I don't think we're interested really that much in him at all. So, and I really don't want Shedeur. I really am comfortable with Jake Browning, and I think Jake Browning is going to be a great quarterback for us. And he's been in our system before. He knows Zach Taylor's offense. He runs it as a efficient level. So that's kind of how I look at it. But just across the board, man. You got the Ravens and the Eagles right there saying they want to draft you, and you reject both of them to go to Cleveland, man, of all places. And also, I would love to know, and there's probably a statistic out there for this, how many times in football history has that happened? Where a quarterback who could have been a top 5 pick, right? He's dropping all the way to the 5th round. You have 2 teams, Eagles and Ravens, call up this guy and say, hey, we're going to draft you. He tells both of those clubs, no, don't draft me. I don't want to play for your teams. I wonder how many times in football history that has ever happened. Where, a guy who was supposed to be top 5 drops to the 5th round and then rejects the 2 teams that wanted him. And obviously, in the end, 3rd team, yeah. Which, again, just stupidity. I had to look at his stupidity, but it's not. It's stupidity and it's cockiness. The whole point is your ego can sometimes be the death of you. And that's exactly what this is. It's kind of an ego issue. It's kind of an issue of, he obviously thought he thought he could be a starter. He wanted to be a starter. I mean, it's like, in the same time, like, again, I respect it. I really do. Like, I say it's stupid and it's stupidity, but at the end of the day, you got to respect that the guy wanted to be a starter. He didn't want to be a backup. And so he decided that going to the worst place in human history was probably your best scenario to be a starter for some reason. But hey, it worked out. Not really at all. Not even close to worked out. But who knows? Maybe in the future it'll work out. Guys, tell me down below your thoughts and opinions. See you guys next one.